who didn't choose you, because they don't even know it was their loss, not yours, that their life would be a whole lot better had they picked you. But because they picked something lesser, their whole life is unhealthy.
There are three gates to your heart. The gate of your mouth, what is spoken to you. The gates of your ears, what you hear. And the third is the gate of your eyes. What do you see? And so you have to always be careful of who you allow to speak over your life, what you listen to, and what you watch. I am so grateful that you are tuned in to the Power for Life. I believe with everything that's in me that the gates are going to be stormed. From what it is that I speak, to what it is that you hear, and for what it is that you see. For years, we have been coming to you on this channel through this avenue so that your heart might be encouraged, empowered, and strengthened. Stay tuned and allow all of your gates to open so that God might speak to you, you might hear from Him, and you might see signs and wonders.
I don't know whether you heard about it, but it wasn't that long ago that a beauty queen, Lady Moore out of Virginia, named Tracy Lyperd, Lyperd. She was a beauty queen representing the state of Virginia. Tracy Lyperd was driven to the point of unbridled rage soon after she crowned her successor. She got the disturbing news that her former suitor had become engaged to another. She gassed up her vehicle, stocked her trunk with a pistol, a hammer, lighter fluid, matches, and drove for 250 miles just to exact revenge on her ex-boyfriend. This is the day after the pageant. When she arrived at his house in the middle of the night and rang the doorbell, unexpectedly she was greeted by her ex-boyfriend's future father-in-law. In a panic, because she didn't know who he was, she faked having car trouble and asked, could she come in and use the phone? Once she gained entrance into the house, she struck the soon-to-be father-in-law in the head with the hammer. He was stunned, but not rendered unconscious. Unbeknownst to her, the future father-in-law, hear this, was retired Secret Service. As they tussled, she pulled out her pistol and she tried to shoot him. He flipped her over, pinned her to the ground, and it awakened the future mother-in-law, who was in fact shook by the disturbance and immediately called the police. The police arrived on the scene, and shortly after being arrested, they took her down to police headquarters. And when they got her in the interrogation room, they asked her one critical question: why did you do this? What was your motive? And she responded placidly, she did it to get inner peace. There's only so much you can take of the warfare in your life before you reach the conclusion that you deserve inner peace. I want you to lay hands on your heart right where you are, please. Right where you are. And I need you, as vocally on your heart. With all the warfare you've been under, with everything that's been attacking your mind, with everything that's been done to you to break your heart, with everything you've had to fight that was a distraction, I need you to make this declaration with your hand over your heart. Declare it out loud. I need to have peace. Thank you. The motivational activist who was not in Ferguson, wasn't in Baltimore or Sanford, Florida, but the motivational activist that all of us were introduced at 5 years of age was Popeye the Sailor Man, who was often fond of stating after he was being pummeled by Bluto, I done took all I can stand, and I can't stand no more. It's really taken from that strong, resilient black Mississippi woman who said, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. That's exactly, my dear friends, where Colin Kaepernick is right now. He's at a place where he just wants peace. And a lot of you who are not football enthusiasts and are not familiar with his legacy or his story, I want to bring you to the place that forced him to sit down. You probably don't remember a football player by the name of Riley Cooper. White NFL player was caught on video threatening and calling a black security guard nigger. Riley Cooper, the white football player, apologized and said he would accept all consequences. And because he apologized, the NFL did not penalize him. You didn't have to pay a fine. And because you were so busy watching Love and Hip Hop, you didn't even know it happened. So there was no protest. The NFL didn't fine Cooper or take any disciplinary actions, and it was met with zero public outcry. Church ain't say nothing, NAACP ain't say nothing, Urban League ain't say nothing, National Action Network didn't say nothing. We just kept on going. Within that same season, Colin Kaepernick was accused of calling a defensive end, Lamar Houston, the same word. Colin Kaepernick, watch this, said he didn't say it. Lamar Houston, watch this, the target of it says he never did it. An NFL arbiter was in fact called in, and they said, watch this, the arbiter of the NFL said that Colin Kaepernick never ever used the racial slur. Nonetheless, the NFL still fined him $5,512, watch this, under general profanity. Now, here's what you have to know. No player in the history of the National Football League has ever had to pay a penalty for general profanity. He was the first one to ever have to pay it. And watch this. And nobody lifted a fist. Church didn't say nothing. NAACP didn't show up. Urban League was not to be found. And you were busy watching The Real Housewives. And the crowd went quiet. It is amazing that Kaepernick also holds the distinction of being the first NFL player ever fined $10,000 by the NFL. Dr. Cecilia, you're not going to believe it. He was fined $10,000 by the NFL for wearing pink headphones, watch this, in support of breast cancer. But because they were not by Bose and were not NFL endorsed, standing up for women with breast cancer cost cost him 10,000. Susan Komen Association didn't show up. Nobody came with pink lapel signs. Nobody, watch this, who was a cancer survivor held up and said, I'm with him. And he wrote the check for $10,000 and said, I'll do it. He didn't protest even after the fine. Watch this. Even with being biracial, giving him privileges bestowed on him, growing up with the benefit of private school and a suburban upbringing that inner city players didn't have, he still was reared to stand for something. When he surveyed the breadth of football fields across America and how the black community was becoming killing fields, he could find no peace. Convicted by his conscience as he heard the Star-Spangled Banner penned by Francis Scott Key, a fellow Baltimorean, and the third verse trying to get freed slaves to go back into bondage, he said, I ain't standing for that. And he made the brave, radical move that he just couldn't stand it no more. So he said, I'll follow the tradition of Rosa Parks and keep my seat, because that's the only way I'll get peace. I want peace. Said some people who would cheer for you while you were running will burn your jersey when you take a stand. Said, I'm good with it because I want peace. Said other people in the league will write open letters about you and won't stand with you. He said, I didn't do it for endorsement. I did it because I want peace. I'm not even preaching to you. I'm talking to somebody who's 3 rows behind you, who's had to make a difficult life decision that friends and sometimes your own family didn't understand or support. But you said, you know what? If this is going to give me peace of mind, I'll start over with nothing. I need those of you who had to do something in your life, even at the risk of losing friends, even walking away from a long-standing relationship, even with a pay cut. You said, I would rather have peace than having to fight myself for not being authentic to the call of God that is on my life. There are some people in this room who are struggling and are at the worst financial position they ever been in, and here's the news flash: they don't have to live like that, but they made up in their mind, I'd rather have peace by myself than live with somebody who is declaring war on my sanity and my self-esteem. Whatever it takes, give me peace. I just want peace. That's hallelujah. I don't know who I'm talking to in this room, but that's really all I want in this season of my life. I just want peace. Let it be. If I lose some friends, I'm good with that. If y'all don't invite me to eat with y'all, I'm cool. But I am not going to sit here and not be genuine about who it is that I am and what I feel. If you don't want my opinion, you shouldn't have asked me. But now that you done opened the door, let me get some stuff off my chest. And I need 30 of y'all. You might get mad, might get offended. You ain't going to speak to me for a minute, but get over it. I've been holding this in long enough, and the only way I can get peace is to address it. There comes a point in your life where you no longer have peace with the stuff you used to tolerate. And see, people thought because you didn't say anything, you was good with it. But they don't even know this is not Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. I I am not going to keep letting you dog me and abuse me. I was trying to be a good Christian, but you don't know it's some Old Testament in me, and it is not going to give me any peace to let you run roughshod over my life. I can't stand it no more. I can't stand it. I'm talking to some real people who, can I talk to the real people? The real people, you didn't do it all at the altar. The real people had to talk to yourself in the car. God, I need some real people in here. I'm talking to those of you, you started the text 3 times, but you said, no, let me not say it that way. I can't find nobody in here. Before I go all the way off, you saw the little bubbles on the screen, but nothing showed up. You better be thankful unto God they didn't give you the first reaction. So something. I can't stand it. I need you to elbow your neighbor, tell him I can't stand it. I can't stand it. I can't stand for people to insult my intelligence and expect me to play dumb. I can't stand it. I can't stand being taken for granted for people who never deserved to be with me in the first place. I can't stand it. Hallelujah. I can't stand it. I can't stand it. Elbow the people beside you, tell them I can't stand it. I did you a favor. Now you're going to play dumb and act like you don't remember how I was there. How dare you question my friendship when every season of your life I was right there with you. I can't stand it. I can't stand for people who have, hallelujah, no purpose in my life and want to be a priority. God, I can't hear nobody. I can't stand folk who treat me like an ATM and only show up when they want something but never make a deposit into my life. I can't stand it. Can't stand you wanting me to stand up for the red, white, and blue, but you don't want to deal with the treatment of the red, black, and green. I can't stand it. I can't stand America having a double standard that when Trump says, make America great again, y'all gonna shout. But when Colin says America ain't that great, then you gonna protest and boycott. The devil is a lie. What would you do if every conscientious black man walked off the football field next Sunday? Then what would you be able to do? I can't stand it. One of my favorite writers, James Baldwin. James Baldwin once said this. I want you to write it down. Here's what James Baldwin said, one of our great poet laureates of the Harlem Renaissance. He said, to be a Negro in this country and to be relatively conscious is to be enraged most of the time. You didn't hear what I just said. I said to be a Negro in this country and to have a conscience, you're going to be enraged most of the time. You don't know how many people around you are sitting on suppressed anger. Hallelujah, that they really have come into what Malcolm Gladwell calls the tipping point. To say, if one more thing happens to me, I'm going to go postal. I can't hear nobody. All I need is for somebody to come at me sideways. I need some real worshipers in here. Anybody, somebody said something to you and you walked away and had to talk to yourself and say, did they just say that to me? And you trying to figure out whether you're going to let it go or check them on it. You got to figure out, is this the season? Yet you want me to be at peace at you perpetually being disrespectful. Paul in Galatians chapter 5 says that the third fruit of the Spirit or personal characteristic of every Christian is to be at peace. Hallelujah. I need you to just shout out loud, I'm supposed to have peace. Peace in its simplest definition, peace is the freedom of disturbance. The easiest definition I can give you, peace is the freedom of disturbance. In the immortal words of Kanye West to Sway, how I'm gonna be free of disturbance when the stuff always coming at me. When as soon as I deal with one situation, another circumstance rears its ugly head. I wish that my room, my house, my life was a hotel door sign, do not disturb. I just want in this season not to be a millionaire, to be famous. It is not for me to be hood rich. I just want in this season for me to live without petty, jealous, insecure, small-minded people disrupting my focus. How do you have peace? When you got all of that going on. When you're dealing with the visible and the invisible, the tangible and the intangible. How are you supposed to have peace? I was walking through the produce section of Whole Foods the other day, and I was wrestling with my mind on how to have peace. And as I'm walking through the market, I heard an avocado talk to me. You know your pastor's crazy, and I'm walking through, and the avocado said, Jamal, can I preach for you at 11:30? I said, sure, you can preach for me at 11:30. He said, Jamal, nobody ever lets me talk. Will you just let me have the mic for a little while at 11:30? Because I want to tell the members of your church how they can get peace. I said, avocado, if you feel like you can preach, I don't know if you licensed or ordained. I don't know what church you come out of, but I'll yield you the mic, but I'm going to stand with you to make sure you don't say nothing out of order. And the avocado said, Jamal, just give me 5 minutes to preach on how you are supposed to have peace. She said, Jamal, tell the people at your 11:30 service that often I have to sit while other people walk past me. Hallelujah. He said, Jamal, people don't know how I feel as an avocado because I sit there for days and people never pick me up. They never touch me. They walk right past me because I'm not bright red like an apple. I'm not vibrant like a banana. And I used to blame myself that nobody would pick me because they would look past me and not even acknowledge that I was there. And then it dawned on me that it wasn't nothing wrong with me. It was something wrong with them because they didn't know that I added more value than a banana or an apple. And they kept choosing stuff that wasn't even half as good for them as I were. Y'all still ain't hearing me. Every now and again, you ought to shout for who didn't choose you, because they don't even know it was their loss, not yours. That their life would be a whole lot better had they picked you rather than that chicken head. But because they picked something lesser, their whole life is unhealthy. Hallelujah. I don't even know who you talking about. I really don't know. I don't know who you talking about. It ain't even my business. It is not my business. But I need you to just shout out loud. They'd have done better had they chose me. Their whole life would have been improved have they chose me. Now their whole life is sick because they don't even know they skipped over what was the best thing for their life. Said, Jamal, tell 11:30 for me, I don't look as good as the other fruit. Said, I don't look as good, but I'm better for them. He said, people always make fun of me. Why? Because they say I got alligator skin. that when you pick up an avocado, it's rough and it's got bumps on it. He said, Jamal, but please tell the people at Empowerment Temple they're going to lose their blessing if they only judge me for what I look like on the outside. If they ever got to know what's on the inside of me. Do you know how many people miss their blessing because they kept judging you prematurely based off of what you look like on the outside? I may not dress the best, I may not have the best clothes, I may not be in the best shape, but you can't find a more beautiful heart than mine. I love hard, deep, and long. There's something about my spirit that refuses to give up on other people. I love folk that other folk don't give the time of day to because my inside is beautiful. Analyze data. 17,567 people were surveyed in the United States. And of those 17,567 people that were surveyed in the United States, it was disclosed that those that consume avocados, watch this, are healthier. Hallelujah. The avocado is considered a superfruit because of all of the nutrients that's on the inside. The problem is most people, watch this, never bring it to the table. Can't stand for people to insult my intelligence and expect me to play dumb. I can't stand it. I can't stand being taken for granted for people who never deserved to be with me in the first place. I can't stand it.
Thank you for allowing me the intimate privilege of being in your space. Whether you're watching from your living room, a college dormitory, a military barrack, or even an apartment, please know the same power you witnessed here came to where you are. I only need you to do two things. I need you to get the word out. Tell every person you know in social media, watching Power for Life will change your life. And let them know this is the channel they can catch it. The second thing that I need you to do is prayerfully consider sowing into this ministry so that we might continuously empower the world through the word. The gospel is free. It's just expensive to get it out. We've got a whole lot to do, and the Bible is clear that the harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. Help me reach the world one soul at a time, one broadcast at a time, one sower at a time. God bless you.